Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name's Brian. Thanks for joining me for another Sharp Saturday video where it's Saturday and we take a look at something sharp. And today that something sharp was inspired by a viewer comment suggesting that I check out the SZCO patch knife on Amazon for under 13 bucks. So that's what we're going to do in today's video. But first, a word from our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by my friends at XS Sights, the fastest sight in any light. I've been using XS Sights for a lot of years, and it's really cool to have them as a channel sponsor. XS Sights are made in the USA in the great state of Texas, and you can save 15% on your order at their website by using the coupon code SOP15. Okay, so as I said, this knife under 13 bucks, like $12 and something on Amazon. This is made in Pakistan. It is they call it a patch knife. It's a company that sells it as SZCO, 8.5-inch classic patch knife. It was recommended by a comment on one of my Kephart videos because this is, as you can see, is very, very similar to a Kephart style knife. So I thought we'd do without any further rambling. We'll take you down to the old stump top here. We'll show you the details of this thing, talk about the specs and everything, and then we'll get to doing some of that knife stuff. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing my really cool American Hat Makers classic Outback leather crushable hat, in case you're wondering. There's a link in the video description. Okay, so here is the SZCO classic patch knife. And let's talk about this thing. First of all, again, the price on this on Amazon is under 13 bucks. So we're gonna bear that in mind as we look at some of the details on this. So first of all, it is 8.5 inches overall length with a 4.5-inch blade, 3.5-inch cutting surface on the blade, and a 4-inch handle. The handle scales are burl wood with brass pins, and the full tang blade is high-quality stainless steel. That's the best I can find out. And it has a hand-stitched leather sheath, which it's okay. It doesn't look like it's a correct sheath for this knife, but it fits in there pretty good. Over with time, it would mold to it. It would probably mold a little better if you get it kind of wet, but it's trying to see, so it goes down into it that far. So that's as far as the handle will go in, about that far. The belt loop on back, in my opinion, could be a little higher, but it says it's hand sewn and it looks like it. But it's a leather sheath. So again, under 13 bucks. Let's talk about the details of the knife now. There are some roughness on here, and I don't know how well you can see that, but a little bit of a grinding mark there. Here on the corner, I'll try to tilt it where you can see it, but there's a couple little like divots in here, maybe slightly ground divots in here. The edge grind is a little uneven here at the very back of it, and then it's got this kind of a weird little it looks like jimping on the picture, but that's sort of half done with a little hole in it. I don't know what that little hole's about. If you look on the other side of the blade, there's looks like some kind of sticker or writing that was on here that has been tried to remove. And then on the handle, the pins look a little sloppy. You can kind of feel them a little bit. They're certainly not completely smooth, nor is the spine of the knife and the handle completely smooth there. But again, it's under 13 bucks. As far as feeling in your hands, it feels good. In my hands, I wear medium gloves. It feels like it could be a very useful tool. So without any further rambling, why don't we get to doing some of that real testing? And one of the tests I like to do on every knife, as you know, is to test the edge using the internationally recognized kind of a standard sharpness test, the redneck sharp test. So we're going to try that right now. You notice the testing medium, I have kind of tried to renew it a little bit, so it's kind of down. We're going to let it grow back, but we're going to see if this thing if it will do anything here. And even going against the grain, it is not shaving anything. There ain't no higher. Well, okay, there's a few little hires there. So instead of an F, maybe we'll give it a D minus on the redneck sharp test. What about some more practical use testing? Okay, so this is not a chopper, obviously. This is more of a Kephart style, again, camp knife. So one of the things you might use a camp knife for is starting a fire. And if you got some wood that's kind of wet, maybe you split it out and it's rained on you, you might want to get to the inside of it to find some dry wood. And one way to do that is to do that evil, nasty technique called batoning. So it means you take your knife and you take a baton and you bang it through. So we're gonna try that. Got a smaller piece of wood here that's been split out before, but it's been wet. So let's see what kind of curls we can get to maybe start us a fire. See how well this thing does at carving. It's got a hollow ground, which usually carves pretty good. Granted, it did not do well on the redneck sharp test, but it seems to be carving some pretty nice little curls here. Not too shabby. And look, to be fair, it's not a LT Wright Genesis. I got you, okay? It's a $13, under $13 knife. But we got a nice little pile of stuff there. Now, let's dip into our storage unit. Pull out the fat wood that's been there for going on 10 years now and see what we can do with that. Let's see how well it scrapes. You want to? Oh, yeah, would you look at that? Not too shabby right there, I'll tell you what. Okay. I had somebody comment on the video that I was doing this, and they said, you should never, ever, ever scrape the blade of your knife on top of the stump. Okay, don't, but it's my knife. Keyword here, my knife. So what I thought we'd do is first, before we cheat with the fat wood, because maybe you're completely deprived and you don't have any of this God's glorious fat wood, we're gonna try just throwing some sparks onto the, this is birch curls. I've got my Exotac Fire Rod XL. Man, this thing rocks. Let's just see what happens. That's not. There we go. Okay, so the spine is not super sharp in every area, but I did find a spot that was sharp. And just for kicks, let's see how much better potentially the fat wood does. Well, there we go. So, I guess we need to continue with the scientific testing. Chuck Norris doesn't get frostbite. Chuck Norris bites frost. Kuma said he wants to be in the video. Okay, gotta move, we gotta do some testing now. As you know, here at Survival on Purpose, we're all about the science, and to that end, we maintain a state-of-the-art cutting-edge knife testing facility, and one of the tests we like to do on all fixed blade knives is to test the aerodynamic balance using our balance, orientation, and rotation device. So we would be remiss if we didn't do that, and honestly, I'm a little concerned about this one because it's just got some flat brass pins holding these handles on, and well, let's just get to it and see. So again, we have to maintain proper scientific methodology. Whoop, 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 whoop. That was pitiful. Let's try again. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I got to get everything calibrated properly. Whoop. That was a little better. So far, the handle's not loose anyway. Maybe a couple more times. Get back, Kuma, come on, get back. He always wants to chase everything I throw. Go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay, we're gonna call this one balanced before Kuma tries to chase it. Hey, buddy. So, just some final thoughts on this thing and we'll wrap this up. First of all, certainly there are some rough edges on it. There's a little bit of a gap here where the handle meets the blade. You know, just the fit and finish is certainly not wonderful on it, okay? But it's sufficient. And again, it's under $13. So all in all, I think that It performed okay. The edge is not quite redneck sharp, but it's sharp enough to do some carving, and just a little bit of work would probably make it better. The spine is sharp enough to strike a ferro rod and scrape some stuff. The handle's pretty comfortable. It is definitely balanced, and it's a really good size, a workable size. And I like this little knife. I like the Kephart style knives. I wish I'd had this one known about this one when I did the Kephart series last year, a couple years ago maybe, but this would definitely be a contender there. And again, as far as a budget knife goes, I think this is a very, very high value. I'll put a link in the video description below to this one. By the way, I'm sorry I don't have your name in front of me, but if you are the one who recommended this knife to me, thank you very much. I've enjoyed making this little video, and I hope you have enjoyed watching it. I really appreciate you watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.